As I predicted, in less than 3 months, Andrew Tate has been released from jail and is now under house arrest. I still see in the media people saying that, well, he hasn't been convicted of anything, which is parroting what Andrew Tate's lawyer is saying. But in reality, this is not some sort of grave accusation upon the Romanian justice system, because the Romanian justice system is more in line with all the other countries in the world. And that is that, yes, like if you are suspected of committing a crime while the investigation is happening, you are being placed in jail. In Japan, for example, you can be placed in jail for over 1 year without being convicted of anything. In most nations around the world, this can happen. The reason for this is that in the case of certain individuals which may pose as a flight risk or which may have a lot of power and influence in order to try to sway witnesses or other people involved in the case file, they are going to be detained for the duration of the investigation. This is true even in the United States, although yes, they do charge you over there, but you can be charged and be held in jail without bail for a very long period of time. Until you get to see your court date, you can be held for even years. And if you are a person that's considered to be a flight risk, like for example, you have dual citizenship, you happen to own private jets, well, then you're going to be held without bail in jail, even though you may be innocent when the trial comes. And this is pretty much what's happening in Romania. They did not convict him with something because the investigation is not over. The reason the investigation is not over is because they are being expanded to other people. So it's not just Tate that is being investigated. It's also his brother. It's also two other women. One of them used to be a police officer. As I understand, the investigation is now even expanded to an entire police district, which is being accused of having worked with the Tate brothers. So there are many people involved in this file. Tate is just the most famous one, and he is the one that's making headlines. But in reality, there may be even over 10 people that need to be investigated. So the reason that Tate is being placed under house arrest is that they probably finished the investigation regarding him and are now moving to the other people to see how guilty they are. Once the file is completed, then they send it to court, and then Andrew Tate is going to go there. And while the trial is not going to be live streamed, like you have some cases in the United States with Kyle Rittenhouse, for example, the information of what's going on there is going to be public knowledge. You are going to get transcripts, you are going to get the media talking about it, people are going to be able to see the evidence that the accusations bring forward, as well as the rebuttals that Tate's lawyer are going to present. Finally, if Tate is found innocent, then the Romanian government is going to have to pay reparations for him, because the Romanian government has agreed that a innocent person has been locked up, and judging by how much money he makes per month, they're going to have to pay that, plus extra for the emotional damages that he suffers, plus extra for the reputation damage that he suffered. And this is why being detained for 3 months without charge is very rare. It only happens when the prosecutor is so certain that they're going to get a conviction that they decide that, okay, well, in this situation, we can hold this person, we can detain them, so that they don't flee the country, so that they don't try to influence other witnesses, so that they don't try to pressure officials in order to hide or change evidence. This is why it's done. And again, it's the same thing in the United States, except that there they charge you, but they can also decide that, well, you don't get to have bail. Or they put a bail that's so high that a person can't pay it. So, for example, if you were under bail and it was like $10 million, well, that's technically like being placed without the chance of leaving jail until your court date anyway. Regarding the cars that were seized from the Tates, if he is found guilty, then he is going to have to pay reparations to the victim. If he pays reparations to the victims from his own money, then his cars are going to be returned to him. If he chooses not to pay, then the cars are being sold, and the money that is coming from those cars are going to go to the victims, and if there's any leftovers, it's going to go to him. So, yes, he can get his cars back. Like, a lot of people were saying the Romanian government stole his cars. No, like, they are being seized, they are being placed in a warehouse. No one is driving them, no one has access to them. They are just used there as, I guess, like a way to ensure that in the case he loses the lawsuit, then the victims get their money. There were also other interesting events that happened where one of the women said that Tate didn't do anything to her, but the judge said, no, we're not going to take your testimony into account. First off, there were several women that pressed charges against the Tate brothers, and I don't think that the ones that did withdrew their accusations. This was, from my understanding, a witness that initially claimed she got abused and then changed her testimony, and the judge refused to accept the changing of the testimony. And this can happen for several reasons. Number one, there could be evidence which is objective in nature, such as phone interceptions, chat logs, medical expertise, which can attest that no, like this person was abused. For example, if a child was to go with a broken arm to the hospital, and the child initially says that his parents did this to him, but then the child goes like, no, actually, I fell down the stairs. Well, in that case, the investigators are going to go like, all right, but did he change his testimony because of duress? Or did he change his testimony because legitimately he fell down the stairs? Well, we still need to investigate. And they're not going to stop the investigation just because that happened, right? So there are many such situations within criminal law. But again, like most people do not follow criminal law, so they are bewildered when they hear something like this. But yes, there are situations where a victim goes to the authorities, presses charges, and then they go like, well, you know what, I changed my mind. But depending on the nature of the crime, and depending on the other evidence surrounding it, changing your mind might not be enough. So for example, if a store owner says, Don Corleone is shaking down my business, and when the investigators go there, they see that the windows are broken, they find witnesses that attest to the fact that there were several men of Corleone that came in and broke the windows. If the next day the same store owner goes in there and says, well, actually, you know what, it didn't happen, like the windows were broken by some children with stones. Well, that goes against the evidence, and because shaking down businesses is a matter of public safety, not just one store owner being upset, they're going to continue the investigation. Like, this is normal. This is not something out of the ordinary. This is not something tailored for Andrew Tate. This is something that has happened in Romanian law, and actually it's true in many other countries. I think it's true even in the United States. Like, for example, if a child with bruises goes to the cops and says that, well, my parents did this to me, and then they go like, actually, I fell down the stairs. Well, the investigators can choose to keep pursuing. They're like, okay, well, let's see which one, because like they gave two conflicting testimonies. They're like, well, let's see which one is the real one. And they're going to keep investigating until they reach a successful conclusion, which can be that, okay, well, the child lied, or it can be that, well, no, the parents actually manipulated the child into changing his testimony. So anyway, apparently Tate is happy because he has been released. He says that the last 3 months he was under arrest, and finally he gets to have a change of scenery. He says that while in prison he has done his best in order to work out and read the Quran. And he also claims that the judges have taken the correct decision. He does not blame Romania. Did you hear that? Like members of the press, Paul Joseph Watson and other people, right? Like he does not blame Romania. And he believes that once this goes to court, he's going to be found innocent. Well, I guess we'll see. Personally, given the information that came out, the chat logs, the phone interceptions, the number of people that are being investigated, the fact that it's not just him, it's also those two women, and it's an entire police district, it's going to be difficult to believe that he is going to be found innocent. But again, what I believe and what is going to happen at court are two different things. Still, the prosecutors are very certain that they are going to get a conviction if they have decided to arrest him preemptively and keep him detained for so long. So now, while he's under house arrest, it basically means that he is not allowed to talk with any other people from the case file. He's not allowed to contact witnesses. He's not allowed to contact the accusers. And if he wants to leave his house, he has to get permission from the authorities. Which, given the size of his mansion and given the size of his wealth, he's probably going to be able to just walk around the perimeter of the house. He's going to be able to access the internet. He's going to be able to order in food and have people visit him. So It's not ideal. Ideal is for this to go to court as soon as possible, but again, given the nature of the investigation and how many people are involved with this, it may take a little bit longer. I do think that this year, probably, things are going to go to court, and we're going to be talking about this issue further once that happens. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.